The Sam Battlefield here. Thanks for joining me on my journey into CLA coaching, etc. Had a really good morning this morning. We're phasing out of leg entanglements. One of the coolest things. I was writing a blog this morning, or the first parts of the blog, and I was explaining how everyone seemed to be really enjoying this particular phase, the leg lock phase or leg entanglement phase of the ongoing curriculum, and I was writing the blog basically around how I've managed to put interleaving, like almost seamlessly integrate interleaving into my classes now, whereas I had like a rigid structure before. I no longer really have that rigidity, which in the past I used to be like. So what I mean by rigidity is it was like we'd play the whole game, standing, guarded and control positions. So we'd play one game throughout all of that, throughout the thing, and one of the beauties of having that rigidity is it would allow me to bring in things from that we'd been working on previously. So keeping in mind that we at one stage we were employing the CLA through the old curriculum lens. So it was like 2 weeks of this, 2 weeks of that, 2 weeks of half guard, 2 weeks of open guard, 2 weeks of, and it was just like and that was fine to learn how to implement things, because there was that structure around it. But I've moved into these phases, which the phases allow me to still do that, and so it would be like 2 weeks of open guard, and then 2 weeks of half guard, and then I'd be able to then say, and then it would be like, and 2 weeks of side control, right? Okay. Well, during that 2 weeks of side control, we'd also play a game around half guard and open guard. During the next 2 weeks, we would then play, whatever the focus of the week was. We'd do like, I think it was like 60% of the main focus of the week, then 20%. Yeah, if you've followed this channel, you remember this. But it was like 60% main focus, 20%. Something from the previous few weeks, but in whatever the alternative thing was. So alternative being like, if the focus is like a guard, then it would have been the 20% control from the previous couple of weeks. Yeah. Hopefully that's all tracking in your mind. It's tracking in mine. So and the rigidity of that was fine, like it really was. But as things have gone along, I've managed to make that more fluid, make my classes more fluid, and what it's done is it's really allowed as I was writing this blog, I was like, am I doing interleaving? Am I? And then I was like, oh. And then I thought, oh, actually, yeah, 100% I am. And and the reason why I'm doing interleaving is because they're phasing into the next thing, right? So, for example, open guard passing. This is probably the best example, but I'll explain how I'm phasing into the next phase. So open guard passing and open guard retention then became leg entanglement entries from one person standing one person on their back, right? So we then had this. So we then phased into leg entanglements that way, which was great for a few weeks, and then we've been a couple of weeks on. A couple of weeks on the just defending and attacking, like actually, and transitioning through leg entanglements. Yeah. And the beauty of that is obviously I can then I've been throwing in as a complexity increase in the games. I've been throwing in, okay, now a win condition is if you pass. So if you pass and get on top, you win. If you cover the hips, however that looks, you win. So it's like interleaving, but it's also integrating rather than having them as kind of two separate games. They're under the same game banner, but it's bringing that complexity in. And I questioned myself if I had been putting this stuff into play, and then I was like, fuck, I've actually, not only have I put it into play, but I've internalized it. This is something that I've done without consciously going, all right, this is interleaving. It's just how my classes have evolved, which is like really, really cool to see. Like really, really cool from that perspective. So, and then like an example of kind of seeing that in practice on this next phase. Well, we're moving into like half guards and sort of guards where the person's no longer standing, so they're on the deck, yeah, which is such a good segue, and I'll be able to, and even today, and I've slowly started introducing it, even though we're still in leg entanglement phase, yeah. So the introduction of it will be was like we're going to start in kind of like a non-engaged leg entanglement, but connected. So 2 feet like that sort of thing, and you both have both ankles, and then either get into a leg entanglement or get into half guard on top. Pretty simple, yeah. And then the beauty of that is that people are already thinking, oh yeah, I can get up, and it's just so cool seeing people going, like seeing Aaron, him going, oh yeah, I can just stand up. I didn't even think of that, and it's like, fuck yeah. Like I'm getting people to think about to do stuff that they wouldn't have thought about, and it's working, and it's fucking working. Yeah, there's probably a bit more to it, but I'm going to leave it there. Sam Butterfields, thanks for joining me. War and peace.